Hey guys, welcome to another edition of the Long Range Corner. Hopefully you can hear me. Now on our own new channel. How about that? Of course, as always, your host, Matthew Bardeen. Just lighting a little bit here. Hopefully it's a little bit lighter in here. Just got some new lighting in, so. How you guys doing? Hopefully there's somebody out there watching. We'll see. Right, so this week I want to talk about, good question. I want to talk, really want to talk about the meaning of long range. I think that's an interesting debate that came up in the Long Range Hooligans channel this week, past few days, and I think that's a really interesting question. Really interesting topic. So I want to cover that a little bit. I'll also talk about a little bit about wings and my feelings on them, and then talk about some interesting flights that I've seen. So let's get into this. First up, what is long range? That's a big question, right? If you look at long range, it's varied. You get anywhere from 100-kilometer flights to a couple-kilometer flights, 2-mile flights, even maybe a mile. So the question is, what constitutes long range? What constitutes a long range flight? And I've struggled to come up with an answer for that. Do I consider a mile long range? Well, on my 7-inch quad, no. On a wing, definitely not. On a 3-inch quad, yeah, I think that's pretty long range for a 3-inch quad. So, do I consider 10 miles a long range flight on a wing, or 16 kilometers a long range flight on a wing? No, not really. I've seen wings fly up to 100 kilometers, 80 kilometers. So, what constitutes long range? And that's kind of a sticky question. That's one of the things that we've been struggling in with Long Range Hooligans. I don't know how many of you are subscribed to that are in that group on Facebook, but this week, just a couple days ago, one of the admins basically said, I want to see about opening this group up to wings. So when we formed the group, or when he formed the group, there wasn't a lot of people out there doing long range mini quads. There wasn't a lot of people out there with the knowledge and the experience. So the group was kind of formed to consolidate that knowledge in one place. And, well, I mean, that's a good idea. I mean, long range mini quads are a distinct beast from long range wings. Long range wings, people have been doing long range with wings for basically ever. They've been doing, 2005 people were doing long range wings. So there's a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge out there about how to do long range with a wing. There's not that type of experience out there with a mini quad. At least that's my view. So when the group was formed, it was primarily mini quads. So one of the admins basically said, I've been deleting posts that deal with wings, but now I'm starting to get into wings, so do we open it up for wings? And while I may disagree with the form that was said and the fact that he was deleting these posts, I think it's an interesting question. Now, of course, the debate kicked off from there, and we've got the wing guys in there. Oh, mini quads, they don't do long range. So, what's long range? Alex Greaves was probably one of the last people to comment in that thread, and he said anything, for quads, 2 miles is long range. For wings, anything over 10 miles is long range. So that made me think of a video that I just saw. It's I'm not going to be able to show it to you, but I'll put it in the chat. Hopefully you'll get it, and I'll also put it in the description. It is, let's see if I can find it real quickly for you guys. It's a Russian guy. Don't ask me where in Russia. I will find it here. So it's a Russian guy. And he flew 12.5 kilometers on a 7-inch quad, which is pretty damn decent flight, if you ask me. Here we go, I've got it. So he flew 12.5 kilometers on a 7-inch quad with 5.8 gigahertz video and R9 system. That's the 900 megahertz system from FreeSky. So 12.5 kilometers, does that constitute long range? If you're asking Alex Greaves, yeah, that's kind of on the border for long range for a wing, but on a mini quad, it's like insane distance, really? Yeah, on a 7-inch quad, that's crazy, right? So, yeah, is that long distance? I'd say it's long distance. I think that's, you're really pushing the limits of the platform, of the mini quad platform. So that, I think, is my interpretation of, what is long range. Long range is something that is, you're really pushing the limits of what the platform can do. Getting out there on a 5-inch quad, 4 kilometers, I think that's pretty long range. Even Trappy does that. Trappy would agree with that. It's long range for a mini quad. It's not long range for a wing. So I don't like that absolutism. And I had a debate with a guy, and I think his point in that same thread, his point was that, mini quads don't do long range, right? They just don't do long range. So therefore, we should just be talking about wings in this group. And I disagree with that. I highly disagree with that, because I think there's different sets of knowledge to get out there. I mean, the video, the control link, yeah, those are two big things. But those are pretty much solved. If you can do 12.5 kilometers with a 5.8, yeah, that's, it's going to be pretty decent. You can get out there pretty far away. But, and Crossfire, the FreeSky system, those are pretty decent as well. The thing that isn't known, what's the batteries? What battery combo? What frame combo? What ESCs? How do you get the best performance? What about return to home on a quad? Because those are distinct. Those are something different than what you would find on a wing. So I think in that sense, it's disingenuous to say, only wings do long range. Because the problems of getting out there safely and getting back safely are still there. So that's kind of what I want to impart. That's my view on what is long range. So take a look at that video that I posted in the chat. I will also post it in the description. But that, for me, I think that's long range. I think that's definitely, getting out there. 12.5 kilometers, far and above what I've been able to do on my systems. But mainly because I'm not out there looking to get maximum range. I'm looking to get out to where I want to go. So it's a little bit distinct. The other flight I want to talk about, and I want to show you. Let's see if I can find it here really quickly. is from Benson. Probably I'm not going to be able to find it real quickly. Yeah, there we go. The Benson Kelleher. He has a 4-inch rotor X atom, and he took that out probably about 2.5 kilometers, thereabouts, a little less than 2.5 kilometers. So that's the other link I want to share with you, the other flight I want to share with you. Let me copy it here. Just for the record, I don't like Mac. It's a pain in the butt. Yeah, there we go. And copy link. So that's a 4.5 kilometer flight, probably out and back, on a 4-inch mini quad. Now, I think that's pretty decent range as well. I mean, a lot of people would consider that getting close to long range for a 5-inch quad or a 6-inch quad, right? So to be able to do that with a 4-inch quad is really impressive. So those are two of the flights that I think exemplify it, what I'm talking about. You know, you're really pushing the range of the equipment rather than, yeah, going for the maximum distance that you can. Because, to be honest, if you want to compare things, maximum distance has already been achieved, or the longest distance that has been achieved by a UAV drone is far and above beyond what we can do as hobbyists. And that's the Global Hawk that flew something like 2,000, 3,000 miles. It flew from Edwards Air Force Base in the U.S. to Australia and across the Pacific Ocean without a human crew. So, yeah, we've lost there. That's long range. That's really long range. What we do, that's just piddling stuff. So, yeah, if you really want to compare wings to quads, of course mini quads are going to lose. However, and this is where I want to talk a little bit about wings. I like wings. I think they're an excellent platform. I think you can do a lot with them. You can get good range. You can get out there. Awesome. However, it's really hard to get good video from a wing. I don't know if you guys noticed it, but you really have to work hard to get good video. If you look at what guys like Gooey 86, what they do, you'll see the dives. The dives they do are just basically 4K 30 frames per second, and they don't do much editing there. They just leave that straight. But if you do a scenic, and what you'll notice is the quad moves around a lot. It just basically bounces, and some of the wings, a lot of the wings have yaw wag, so you see them moving like this. That really annoys me. Really hate that. And it is not necessarily pleasant to watch. On a downhill run, I understand it. On just regular scenic cruising flights, I don't like that too much. So, and what Gooey does for the scenic parts of his flights is he uses the 4K, and he's able to basically stabilize it. And then he loses a lot of the borders, but that's okay because it's stabilized, it's 4K, he still retains that resolution when he passes it to 1080p. So, interesting what he does. A lot of wing guys use that trick. So that's a little bit of what I'm talking about, is that you pick your poison. Wings, yeah, you get out there really far, but you don't have good video. You don't have watchable GoPro footage, I'll put it that way, and for the general person. So it's, you pick your tool. Where I fly in the mountains, tons of wind, sometimes even quad footage is bad. So imagine what that footage would look like on a wing. It'd be unwatchable. So that's the issue. That's my feeling between wings and quads and long range. How the hobby, basically how they all fit together. Wings great for really long range, for really long distances, not great for footage. Quads really good for medium range stuff, but stable footage. So yeah, pick your poison. Right. How are you guys doing tonight? I only see 4 of you guys out there, so I think a lot of people have lost the channel. What can you do? Tonight we're having Cross. This is ale, a good ale, 7.2% alcohol, so I should be good and sauced by the time I get done with this. And it's 750 milliliters, not liters. So about double what I usually have. Who all is out there? Say hello in chat if you're watching. Yeah, only a couple people out there. Right. What are you guys' thoughts on long range? What do you think about that whole debate? Do you think wings are long range? Well, of course, wings are long range. Do you think quads are long range? Do you think quads can do? Hey, how you doing, Chris? Do you think quads can do long range? Or is long range the sole, under the sole ownership of wings? What about a tricopter? Yeah, when I see quads, I mean multi-rotors in general. Tricopters are a little bit more efficient with less motor to drive. So, that's my thought. They've got the servo to drive, which eats a little bit of power, but not as much as a motor. And you can use generally larger props because you don't have the interference. Ah, Mike, hey, and Humboldt, cool. How you guys doing? Nice flight, by the way, Mike. Really enjoyed that, your wing flight. I really need to get off my butt and start playing around with my wing. Looking at it, I've got my trainer wing up there, or 2 trainer wings actually. I don't know if you can see it back there. Z84 wing and Hobby King Bix 3. I should probably start with the Bix 3, but no, I'll probably start with the Z84. I bought the Z84 as a cheap trainer wing because, you know, I wanted something that I could bash around and not feel too badly about destroying. Yeah, I really want to get my mini track in the air as well, but I really don't want to crash it at the same time. So that's my issue. That's why I haven't been doing anything. Hey, Mike Stevens as well. Hey, cool. Yeah, so let me show you what I've got. So here we go. This is my trainer wing. This is my wing Z84. Yeah, put that the right way around. Just real simple, turning-y. Probably got it set up really badly, but hey, like I said, this is all spare parts. I got a Turnigy camera here, HS1177, which I've been using really cheap. Lumiere, probably 500 milliwatt video transmitter here. X4RSB here, and an old Naze here with, you guessed it, iNav on it. So I'm hoping with the iNav and the auto launch, I can actually get this in the air and maybe get some flight out of it. Yeah, this is meant to go with like one of my 1300 milliamp hour batteries, 4S. It's running a 960 kV motor with a little Cobra, one of the old Cobra 960 kV motors. Probably a little bit under motored, but hey. A 30 amp Rotor Geek ESC. Yep, 30 amp BL Heli 14, old one, and HQ 3.6 by 3.5 inch prop. So that's my setup here. Really simple. I don't even remember what servos I'm running in it, but it's probably horribly set up. But like I said, it's just to learn how to fly on. One of those things, you know. Don't want to destroy anything nice. Yeah, just send it. Gotta get off my ass and find time to go flying. I haven't been flying in ages. Even around the house, I haven't been flying. So, yeah, I really need to get off my ass and do something. Problem is, I've been busy with house projects. Those house projects have carried over from the vacation into my work week. Yeah, RC, ready-made RC Recruit. I've seen that. That looks really nice. I was debating one of the Hobby King bonsai wings because those are cheap as well and pretty small. I really wanted something small that I could just bash around. I do a lot of flying, a lot of my testing, training out of the house. So that's one of my problems why I don't fly the wings very much, is because, you know, I can't just go out on the porch and fly. Hey, Shiny, how you doing? I'm glad you found us here. Hey, Negros. Negros. So yeah, that's basically what I've got going on here. Smaller wings are great, harder to fly. Yeah, that's what I thought. I've been thinking I should practice more with the big one, with the Bix 3. That's probably a good trainer wing, but like I said, that needs more space, and here in the house I don't have a lot of space. So either way, I need to get off my ass and do something. I need to go flying. I wanted to get out flying today, but slow. Yeah. I want speed, man. I want something that will get my rocks off, so to speak. Yeah, so what have you guys been up to? I have to say that I have flown the Bix 3 once. I've attempted to launch it twice and flown it once, and that flight ended rather badly. Ended up in a tree, about 5 meters up in a tree. So, yeah, that was the end of my first wing flight. And since then, I haven't flown. And that was probably about 2 years ago. So, yeah, maybe it's traumatic experience. Excuses why I'm not flying my wings. But, yeah, I need to get out there and do that. Other thing I did find was trees are mean. Yes, they are, man. I've had my fair experiences with trees. Yeah, the other thing I managed to dig up was I found the remnants of my, probably you don't know what this is. Bonus points if you do. Any guesses? Let's see if we can get the fly. There we go. That's the top plate. That should help you a little bit. Maybe. Yeah, you can see that. Okay. So that's my Tankito 30. It's a 30mm frame. Flying cinema, damn straight. Tankito 30. Now I like this frame because it has integrated somewhere here. It's got an integrated cage for the GoPro, which is the GoPro 4. Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking, Mike. It's great footage. Carbon fiber is probably 2mm carbon fiber. It's really thin, but the issue is, well, you don't want to crash it, number one. Let me tell you how thin it is. It is. Looks like 2mm. 2mm carbon fiber. No, I lied. 1.5mm carbon fiber. But what it does is it goes together in sections. And then you've got the arms somewhere here. The arms are 4mm. So you stick the arms in there, and there's little sections in there. So what breaks usually is the arms, or I don't know if you can see it there, but there's a little repair. So this section breaks as well because you end up, dumping it in the ground at high speeds, and that tends to flex. But in general, it's pretty sturdy because it has these little cross sections. As you can see, that's kind of broke, but it doesn't affect the stability very much. So these cross sections sit in there like that, and then you've got little standoffs that go here, 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 and then the actual some 3D pieces that go in there as well. These little 3D pieces that go in there. So you stick them there, and that holds it all together. The main thing I didn't like about this frame was when you hit anything, the screws that are for the arms, which are these big ass things there, they go all the way through there. You hit something, and the arm tends to bend the screws. So they really do bend. It's impressive how much they bend. And that's basically because they've just got most of the leverage right here along the wrong axis. So you hit something and it just bends the screws. So I was thinking about that. I've got these, I actually got one here with a motor on it. These 5-inch arms here that are significantly longer than the ones here. And this is a 6-inch frame. So I was thinking maybe I could adapt these arms to sit on this frame and put some 7-inch props on it. So I think that's going to be my next project, is to do that and maybe get a little bit more flight time out of this sucker, because really it didn't get very much flight time. But it got good footage. And it's pretty heavy as well. So that's kind of my mad thinking here. I'm not sure what motors I'm going to use. Maybe some of the Rotor Geek motors that I've got. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. 7 by 3.5 by 3s, if I get some in. Or some 7 by 3.5s or something like that. I don't know. I've got to figure out what I'm going to do. but or 7 by 4.5s. But that's kind of my mad plan, and I like that because, like I said, it's got the integrated GoPro cage, and it's got the little vibration dampers on it, so I should get fairly decent footage from it. So yeah, that's what I've been thinking in my spare time, building something rather than actually doing any flying. Who wants to fly? Flying is for wimps. Yeah, no, I gotta get out flying. Unfortunately, it's probably not going to happen for the next couple weeks. Just the way it is. It's the way of life, unfortunately. Sometimes you get busy and get unmotivated. I've been neglecting the house, like I said, for far too long. So, yeah. What else did I want to discuss? I think that's it. I think next week I'm going to try to get somebody on. Mike, if you want to come on and talk about your wing, more than welcome to. But yeah, I'd like to get somebody on and maybe open this up a little bit more for more of you guys to come on and talk about what you guys are doing. Because I know there are people out there that are doing some cool shit. Mike, I know, is doing cool shit. I've seen Daniel Deller, I think. Snowman is his channel. Yeah, Saturdays, 10 p.m. is usually when I do this. So I try to keep it on. Daniel Deller, I think, is the guy I was looking at. Saw one of his videos just recently. Very, very cool stuff up in mountains in, I think, Switzerland. Not... Let me make sure. Yeah, Snowman. Let me post a link to his channel. Cool shit from him as well. So check out his channel. He's up in Switzerland, I think. Swiss Alps, yes. And he does some cool stuff. There we go. There's a link to his channel as well. So he's doing good stuff. I like that. Yep. I don't think I'm going to finish this beer before I let you guys go. I think I've... Hey, Joshua, cool. Welcome aboard. I was just talking about you earlier. Chug, chug, chug. No, I'm not going to chug that. My drinking days are long over. Now I'm more of a sipping. My chugging days are long over. Yeah, so what else have I got for you guys? What are some of the more cooler flights that I've seen recently? Sip, sip, sip. Yeah, there we go. Hippie cough syrup. That, my friend, is Cerveza Ale Fuerte. Strong ale beer. That's what that is. 7.2% alcohol. Minion, good long-range antenna. Good question. I don't know. I've never tried them. I've heard about them, but I haven't seen it. What's the DBI on it? No, not Minion antenna topper. Minion antenna. Ah, VAS Minion. Hey. .25 dBi. Yeah, I think that depends on your situation. 2.25 dBi is pretty decent. But what you're going to end up with is going to flatten the transmitting range. So I mean, it could be. I mean, it could be a good antenna, but like I said, it depends on what you're doing. I think I'd prefer more of something with a little less dBi on the transmitter and a little more circularity. Yeah, I think that on the RX that makes sense, because on the receiver you're actually thinking about like you're typically aiming the receiver where you're flying, more or less. You don't, put it this way, if you're using like a diversity system or something like that, you usually have your crosshair aimed where you're going, you're directional on it, and then you have your omni or something like that to the side, and that's usually on the horizontal plane on your omni. So like a flat a higher dBi antenna there with a flatter receiving range makes sense, whereas if you're got it on the quad, you want something that just transmits more or less equally in all directions, because you never know what orientation your quad is going to be in. That's my thoughts on that. Axial ratio, I don't know. I haven't seen that. Let me check. Does it say? Of course, Get FPV's page doesn't say anything about the axial ratio. Yes. Video. See on their video aerial systems page if they have anything on the Minion, Mad Mushroom, Micro, Airblade, etc., etc. And of course, there's no search. It doesn't look like he has it listed on his page, so I can't tell you what the axial ratio on it is. Let's try that again. Ion. The Ion is supposed to be a, well, he says omnidirectional near perfect axial ratio, 0.88. So yeah, your mileage may vary. I think with it that's a 2.5 dBi. So I think in terms of, I don't know. I think it's still going to be a flatter transmission or flatter receiver. So axial ratio, not necessarily circularity. Basically, as you gain in dBi, you tend to flatten out the transmission. So that's at least my understanding. Is there's no such thing as a free lunch. Let's put it that way. No such thing as a free lunch. Therefore, you're always going to pay the price. You're always going to increase one thing but decrease something else. So I think what you've got is with the Minion and the Ion is you've got a longer spread, a bigger donut, or a more powerful donut, but a flatter donut. That's at least my understanding. Goggle modules for the 2.4. Decent. Somewhere around here I have my Next Wave 2.4 gigahertz goggle module. It's very decent with an omnidirectional antenna. I'd say something like this, but not completely destroyed. With an omnidirectional antenna like this, you're going to get probably you're going to get a decent range. I've gone at least 2 kilometers personally on this and the goggles module. Not this antenna, of course, but something very extremely similar to this. But you're going to get at least 2 kilometers. Diversity for goggles? No. Why would you need diversity for 2.4? Going to put it. Let me put it another way. Let me get it. This is the crosshair for the 2.4 gigahertz. So stick that on your head. So diversity, no, I don't think is really necessary for 2.4 goggle modules. Definitely not. If you really want to do something, because immersion, yeah, you can. Immersion does the ground station, but for the goggles, no. Actually, I think this is a Fat Shark module, if I remember correctly. And it's minus 90 dBm, so fairly decently sensitive. But yeah, diversity, yes. You can do repeaters for your gear. I have a repeater somewhere, not anywhere handy, but when I do, I have a 25 milliwatt Lumineer VTX, 5.8 gigahertz VTX that I just hook up to my my Fat Shark, or my immersion, my Duo to 2400, and then I can stick the receiving antenna anywhere I like, the VTX antenna anywhere the RX ground station anywhere I'd like, and it just basically transmits, and I can use my goggle modules, and that works. The only thing that I don't like about that the repeater, if you're using diversity on your goggle modules, what happens is sometimes you'll get static through. So you get a little bit of static through on the 2.4, and your goggle modules will interpret that as having a bad signal and try to switch between the two diversities. At least that's what I had on the Fat Shark diversities. So that wasn't really an ideal situation. I only had one antenna, and it would switch to the other other antenna port where there was no antenna on it. So I'd get like really bad signal for just a couple seconds before it would switch back. And yeah, so that was a really good situation. So you kind of have to watch that if you're doing a repeater. It will sometimes interpret static from the original video receiver, the original video signal, as bad signal and try to switch on the receiver and the goggles. So be careful of that. I've actually got drop-in stuff. Got the diversity system as well from Hobby King, the Quantum 2.4 gigahertz diversity. Cap on one of the SMAs. It'd have to be something like attenuator or something like that. Yeah, attenuator is the name for that. Yeah, but this is the 2.4 gigahertz system I had. My initial testing wasn't all that great. It was it had a lot of problems here at the house. When it lost video signal, it would really the video quality would degrade for too long, almost to the point where it was unflyable. Whereas with the Duo 2400 here at the house, I had none of those problems. Even with the Goggle Modules, I didn't have those problems. I'm not sure if, yeah, it's $40. It's cheap. If it's just a problem of interference here at the house, or if it's going to continue out in the field. So one of my things that I want to do pretty soon is get out in the field and test this and record some DVR out in the field where there's little interference to see how this does. And compare it with the interference on the Duo 2400. Now, if I was really smart, I'd do it so I set up like a mission on a Pixhawk or something like that, and do a completely apples to apples comparison. So just run the same mission twice with the different receivers to see how the thing performs. Yep. I know Mike uses that in the wild, but like I said, your experience on something might vary. So let me put it this way: your first car is Citronetta, one of the Citroen 2CVs, and you might think that's the greatest car in the world until you get into a Lamborghini. And then you realize how bad the Citronetta was. So that could be... I want to do a comparison. I want to make sure that my experience is representative of the actual product. So I'm just reporting what I've found so far here at the house. Yeah, it's not a good comparison, you know, Citronetta versus Lamborghini. 24 horsepower, or 2CV is, they joke it was 2 horsepower, versus 500 horsepower. Yeah, the beer's getting good. It's coming up on 50 minutes. So we'll go for a little bit longer and then I'll cut it. I'll probably cut it at 60 minutes before I finish my beer. I'm already feeling quite happy, so. Yeah. So like I said, I want to do a pretty good comparison. Look at this guy's beer. Was that this guy's beer or this guy's beer? Comma, important. This is a Chilean beer, by the way. Microbrew. Somewhere. Fairly local. Not too local, but it's good stuff. Tomorrow. Yeah, Josh. I was talking maybe next week we could have you on. Something like that. I want to have people on. Maybe we can get you, Mike, and Diego, get the whole cast of the Long Range Corner on. And we can do a little chit chat. Do a Google Hangout or something like that. That's a little bit easier for a bunch of people. Now that would be cool. Long range road trip to Matt's house. I'm not sure it'd be road trip, but plane trip, yeah. Tonight's Long Range Corner is currently sponsored by Cross Cerveza El Fuerte Cinco. Yeah, I don't even know the name of it. I think it's Cinco. 5. Cerveceria Cross. And that's with a K. But yeah, I would like to see more guys down here in Chile. We've got so much terrain, so much interesting. He's got a pretty hardy forerunner. It'll make it. There's a channel out there. How far do I live? Yeah, let me finish that thought. There's a channel out there. It's called Hasta Alaska. It's about a guy who takes a Chilean microbus, VW microbus, and drives it from Chile to Alaska. And it's pretty cool story. He took about 5 or 6 years to get there. Cool stuff. You won't get all the way. You'll have to take a boat for part of it. There's a section in, I believe, Panama, where you just can't cross by land. You just have to send your car by boat because you just don't get through it. It's called Dorian Gap. That's what it's called. Hasta Alaska. That's it. Check it out. Good stuff. Cool story. Hippie guy, but hey, I envy him because he's out exploring. He spent 5 years driving from Chile to Alaska. Anyway, 5 years. Yeah, no. 5 years driving from Chile to Alaska. Yes. Check it out. How far do I live from those epic mountains? About 3 hours, more or less. Well, 3 hours to my flying spot, about 2 hours to the mountains. There are some places that are closer, but good estimate is 3 hours. That giant beer is talking. Yeah, I'm jealous, man. You and Bryce Prestwich. Mike says he's 15 minutes from the mountains. Bryce passes to the mountains every morning when he goes to work. So yeah, I have to plan. I have to actually think about how I'm going to get up. I actually have. Yeah, it's a bit frustrating for me to see these guys living close to the mountains, but hey, Chile has such a wide range of different landscapes that I really shouldn't be that bothered. To the coast, it's about 2 hours. So between the coast, it depends on where you are in Chile, but here in the central region, it's about probably 4 hours from the coast to the mountains. I live in a town called Talca. Let me spell that out. It's about 3 hours south of Santiago, the main city. And it's a medium-sized town, probably about 150,000 people, thereabouts, somewhere around there. Mainly agriculture around here. This section of Chile is basically wine country, forestry, fruits. 1995, no man, you are so wrong. This, my friend, is 1986. Thank you very much. 30, what? How many years? 32 years? And let me tell you, you can have this keyboard when you pry it from my cold, dead hands. This is an IBM model. Oh, I've got an incognito. I'm not sure what I did here, but yeah, there we go. This keyboard is an IBM Model M. It's one of the original Model M's. It's something that I just picked up recently. I'm a keyboard fan. I do a lot of typing, a lot of programming. So having a good keyboard is essential, and this is one of the best feeling keyboards that I'd say more modern keyboards that they've made. So they started making these in 86, 85, somewhere around there. And then they stopped making them in, at least IBM stopped making them in 84, somewhere around there. There's another company called Unicomp that still makes this, more or less this model keyboard, but they're famous for their buckling springs. So they get their noise from a spring that when you press down, it just basically buckles and hits the side and makes that noise. That makes that pinging noise. It's cool stuff. A lot of feel. Great for writers, great for programmers. Cheap LoRa 915 transceivers on eBay. I haven't seen them. That's basically the same technology that the Crossfire uses. But LoRa. Yeah, that's the basic same transmitter transceiver that the Crossfire uses, probably the R9 uses as well. But the Crossfire has a lot of advantages. Yeah, nice seeing you, man. We'll coordinate and Josh is leaving. We'll coordinate and we'll set up what we're going to do next week. I think that'd be interesting. Be cool to have you guys on. Cool looking in like $10. Yep. But I think with the Crossfire, what you get is the integration and the engineering. So, I mean, what you're paying for is everything here. All the packaging, the nice little OLED screen, and the all the programming that goes behind it. So, yeah, you could probably do something similar or make your own system. I don't know. I don't have the time. Don't have the patience. I want something that works. So, that's why I use Crossfire. Wing repeater for a mini quad. There's actually a couple guys out there that have done repeaters. Here we go. posted it in the chat. It's a Damon repeater. So look that up. You know, there's other guys out there that have done the same similar things. They do basically retransmitters, repeaters. I saw one mounted on a quad. Yeah, here's another one. So what they're talking about, what I'm talking about here, is there's guys that basically use a quad to relay the signals from out of line of sight, which is a really cool concept. So basically with most flying, you're limited to line of sight. Pretty much with all flying, RC flying, you're limited to line of sight. So what they do is they send up another quad that basically acts as a satellite repeater. So it transmits a signal to, say you're trying to fly behind this mountain here, there's a mountain here, and you're here and you want to fly over here. So they send up a quad that hovers over the mountain or a fixed wing or something like that, and basically retransmits the signal from your quad to your ground station or to whatever you're doing. So it's a really cool concept. Really allows you to escape the traditional limitations of the FPV. However, adds complexity. So, like I said, there ain't no such thing as a free lunch. Moon is a Harsh Mistress is the name of the book that came from Frank Herbert. There ain't no such thing as a free lunch. And that is a guiding principle. Yep. The relays are definitely, they're definitely handy. Havoc says he's using them with his RTK GPS Trimble gear. So basic same idea. GPS, RTK GPS is a little bit different, but same basic idea. But yeah, it's cool stuff. Right, guys. It's been good, but my beer is empty. And it's been about an hour, 30 minutes longer than I like to usually go. So thanks for stopping by. I hope you've had a good time and have learned something. Or not learned something. Or not been annoyed. And hopefully we'll see you again next week. Later, guys.